Hi everybody and welcome to Positively Kimmy. I am Kimmy. If you are new here, welcome. This is a safe space. And if you're one of my returning subscribers and my besties, hi guys, how are you? I hope you're all having an amazing day. Welcome to my Ozempic reboot. I call it that because I had started on Ozempic and then for 3 months could not get it. So I didn't want to start from when I originally had to stop, so I started again with week 1, and that's why it's called an Ozempic reboot. I have done really well up until this point. Now, normally I would show you how to give yourself the shot, explain to you that it does not hurt, that you're not going to feel anything immediately, unless of course you're having some type of an allergic reaction, which I don't know how often that happens. I can't tell you about things that you read on the internet and the horror stories that you hear there, but I can only tell you about my experience. But unfortunately, I did this whole video where I had the tutorial and it got deleted. So I have to start again. So that's why my hair looks different right now than it does in the thumbnail. So Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and semaglutide all have semaglutide in them, which is the ingredient that helps you lose the weight. Now, I am a type 2 diabetic, so I need this to help lower my A1C as well as lose weight. Since I've been on Ozempic, I have lost up until the 200-pound mark, which I was not able to get past. I had lost 51 pounds. So I was really happy with that, but I've been stuck at the 200-pound mark for like 3 weeks now, and it is so incredibly frustrating to me. But before we get into my results and stuff like that, I just want to tell you that everybody's experience with Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, and semaglutide is going to be different. I've heard horror stories where people had bad mental thoughts, and that was not conducive to what they needed to do, and it was not a good situation. And then I've heard your anxiety gets worse, your depression gets worse if you have those things. You also get gallstones, pancreatitis. You can get gastroparesis. I've had all those things in the past. They are not fun, and I have not had any of those symptoms since I've been on Ozempic. The only symptoms I've had, and this is since day 1, is explosive poop, extreme constipation where I won't go for 4 days at a time, and I am just so bloated and feel so icky. And I also had extreme fatigue in the beginning. I would say for about the first 8 weeks, it was really bad. You couldn't get up, you couldn't function, you just felt like you just felt like you couldn't do anything. You felt lethargic. And even getting up to go to work or go to a doctor's appointment was a project for me. So I can't even imagine people that work because I'm on disability and how you went to work feeling like that. I was following a woman who, it was the first person I checked who did their Ozempic journey, and now she's on like week 32 or something like that. And I always stayed a week behind her, so a week ahead of her. So when she did week 1, I hadn't even started yet because she was 30 weeks ahead of me. But then I went to her first video to see what to expect because I was afraid when I first took my first shot that I was going to feel something. I was immediately going to get, these thoughts in my head. I was going to have these bad anxiety attacks, and none of that happened to me. So you can choose to look at the negatives and you can choose to look at the positives. The truth of the matter is, if you're sensitive to some of these things, then you might have a problem, but I did not, and I can only speak about my experiences. So that's what I'm going to do. I just went over most of the side effects with you. It's all the same, plus there are other ones for most of the drugs. Wegovy just came out and said they were also for type 2 diabetics, not just a weight loss drug, and they also have something to do with the heart. And I didn't get the whole thing on that, so I don't want to go into that. But they're finding other things that these medications are good for, and I think that is amazing because my A1C went from a 7.4 to a 6.1, and I'm so incredibly happy about that, even more so than the weight, because I don't want to be diabetic. I don't want to become insulin dependent. I mean, as it is now, I take metformin along with my Ozempic, just to get my blood sugar down and my glucose down, you know. And I think that if this is going to work that well, I'll be off of the metformin sooner rather than later. So I've managed to lose 51 pounds already, and this week was a really good week for me. I finally made it under the 200-pound mark. I am 198 pounds, and I have not been able to say I am 100 and blank pounds in a decade, easily a decade. And I am so proud of myself for doing that. And I just started walking recently because I've lost the 51 pounds. Now it's 53 pounds, but I lost 51 pounds. And I'm starting to walk because I have more energy. I'm lighter. I'm not carrying around that extra weight that I had, which was bogging down my degenerative bone disease and making my hips really hurt and my legs really hurt and all these other things that I was having so many problems with prior to going on Ozempic. So I am so grateful that my doctor chose this drug for me, and I am doing so incredibly well on it. I am losing at a slow rate because I've been on the 1 milligram for about for 18 weeks now, and I just started my 2 milligrams today, and I have another 4 weeks of 2 milligrams, and hopefully they'll be able to get it in again by the time I need it. And if they do, I will be thrilled, because that will help me get over this hurdle, because I'm eating really well. I'm not overindulging. I'm eating my vegetables. I'm just doing such a good job and really being careful, because just because you're on these drugs, or if you've had a lap band, you'll know this, or if you've had your a gastric sleeve, you'll know that you still have to pick and choose the right foods to eat. You can't have, unfortunately, pizza all day long. I mean, it's just not healthy for you, and it's not going to give you turn into protein, which is going to turn into energy. So because of that, you still have to eat your vegetables and your fruits and do everything in moderation, which if I was able to do that to begin with, I would not be the size that I am. But now that I know that, and I know, like, I had major problems with my stomach for the longest time, like decades, and I would vomit 5-6 times a day, and you think that would make me thin, but it didn't, and it was really horrible. And I had a lot of bowel obstructions. I had a lot of pancreatitis. I had the gastroparesis. They had to go in and remove 96% of my stomach, and you would think that would make me thin. So what happens is, when I eat, it goes from my esophagus right into my small intestines, and then what would happen is, because I had no more mobility down there, it would back up and I'd end up with a small bowel obstruction. So it had been years that had been happening to me, and now I have more of a dumping syndrome, where when I do eat, I go immediately, and I feel great about that, because it just takes the bloating away, it takes the pain away, it's amazing. It's amazing, and I wish that for everybody, that you can feel as great as I do now on Ozempic. I wish you the best of luck. What else can I tell you about it? It has just changed my life, and I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop till I get to that extra 60 pounds that I need to lose, and we're doing it 5 pounds at a time. And I think that's the best way that I know how that I can do it. Because I can't look at 60 pounds and be overwhelmed. I can look at 5 pounds and say, that's obtainable. You know, once we hit that 5 pound mark, let's go for another 5 pounds. And those are all obtainable goals for me. But for the first time in 2 decades, I can say that I'm 190 something. That just blows me away. and pretty soon I'll say I'm 180, and then 170, and then in the 160s, and then in the 150s, and I'm never going to go to 251 pounds again. I'd like to thank you all for your support. You have been so kind to me. Anyone that's on this journey with me, I wish you so much success, so much success. And if you need me for anything, I am here for you. I will answer any questions you have. If you're too embarrassed to leave them in the comment section, please just email me. My email address is always in my description box, and I will answer you to the best of my ability. But I am not a doctor. Even though I play one on TV, I'm not a doctor, so I can only tell you about my experience. I can't tell you why something is or is not working for you. That you should refer back to your doctor. So with that being said, be happy, be healthy, be blessed, and most of all, be positively you, because there's no one else quite like you, and that makes me so incredibly happy. You guys rock. Love you.